Is there any of his fights that you've watched that you said, all right, well, that's going to kind of be what I have to do? Because Fedor beats everybody except for the best guys in the world. If you look at his record, it's almost impressive because I haven't looked at his record in a while, but his only 3 little blips in recent memory were Dan Henderson, Antonio Bigfoot Silva, and Fabricio Werdum, and each of those guys, especially at the time, were definitely top tier guys. So in any of those losses, is there somebody that you look at and say, that's the game plan that I need to go in with?
Honestly, not really, because I feel that I am the variable in all of my fights. I feel like I fight in a very unique way and manner, and I feel like nobody can really duplicate what I do. So it's not really fair to look at other people's videos or other people's fights and say, oh, like, this is how I should fight it here in this situation, because the way I move and the way I fight and the way I react is so abnormal compared to everybody else that it's not a legit perspective. But we figured out in the gym, we put our time in, and by the time my team says, all right, you're ready to go, I know I'm prepared. And that's just pretty much how it gets down, man.
When you look at Fedor, I mean, we've seen time and time again, he pulls back a victory from the brink of defeat. That's what's so amazing about him. When you look at the fight against Andrei Arlovski that he had in Affliction years ago, Andrei Arlovski was totally outboxing him, beating him to the punch and making him look amateur. But then Arlovski got too excited, too carried away, jumped through the air, did a flying knee, bang, that overhand right from Fedor came, knocked him out cold. We've seen it before where he's kind of losing fights and then he pulls out a magnificent armbar. Is the game plan as simple as, listen, stay focused, stay to the game plan, avoid the ground, and outbox him on the feet?
Yes. Yes, yeah. It is. But you think about it, though. Like, I think anybody that knows me knows I'm not trying to go to the ground, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not trying to be there. I'm not a grappler. That's not what I do. So I'm a sprawl and brawl guy, just very similar to Chuck Liddell. I mean, hell, even similar to you. Like, you're a sprawl and brawl guy. You have good hands, and you have really solid takedown defense, and you're solid on the ground. I mean, you and I have gotten a little bit of time in before, and you're solid on the ground. It's just not where you want to be. So that's exactly the game plan. Is look, be active, make him look like a fool when he jumps in because he's going to miss me, and then and make sure my movement stays on point. Don't stand directly in front of him, become a rock'em sock'em robot, and then and touch him when he makes mistakes. And that's my job. That's what I'm going to do.
Do you feel like Fedor is still the same? Because he's obviously an amazing fighter, but do you still feel as if it still holds the same type of value that it did a few years ago, the legend Fedor? Because I feel like a few years ago it was almost a championship fight in itself, whether there was a belt on the line or not. Is there still that same type of mystique to you, or is this just another guy?
Fedor is Fedor. So I think that it holds a tremendous amount, right? And really, I really haven't put a lot of thought into it. And maybe after I win, I'll sit back and I'll think about it, or I'll see the response, the reaction from the public, and we'll see. Maybe it's how the fight goes, right? Maybe if the fight's just a nasty barn burner where we're both bleeding and leaking, and one of us, is fortunate enough to win that get down. Maybe they'll be like, damn, that's old school Fedor. Maybe if I knock him out in 25 seconds, they'll be like, Fedor needs to retire. That was a waste of time, and won't be much accolade to it. Maybe Fedor comes out and kicks my ass all around the joint. You never know. So I really, maybe that's an after the fight perspective kind of answer.